Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to begin this meeting tonight of the City of Social Circle Planning Commission. It is September 24th at 2024, 6 p.m. So on our agenda, we have a roll call. We do have, let the record show, all members except for Adolphus Gaither is present. We have the minutes from the August 27th meeting. Have all Planning Commission members had an opportunity to review those? Any items that need to be noted? If not, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as published.
A motion that we accept the minutes as published.
Okay. All right, we have a motion by Valerie and a second by Signora. All those in favor of the motion to approve the minutes as published, please raise your hand. Thank you. Motion passed unanimous. First item on the agenda is a rezoning request at 1166 North Cherokee. Request is to rezone from R25 to R15 to satisfy dimensional requirements and to replat for potential replatting of the lot. Ashley, would you introduce this item, please?
Yes, so this rezone is at 1166 North Cherokee Road, and the request is to rezone from R25 to R15 to satisfy some dimensional requirements in order to split the lot into two. So we have kind of a mix of nearby and adjacent zonings. There's some ag nearby, there's some business nearby, there's some light industrial, there's also some R15 and a little bit of R25. The proposed rezone is to satisfy the dimensional requirements outlined in Table 2.1.5 of the city's UDC that will need to be met in order for the parcel to be divided for the purpose of a future residential use. As shown on the proposed plat, which we've labeled as Exhibit A, the existing parcel would be divided into two parcels, with each of them being a little over a third of an acre. The newly created parcel would only be accessible from Malcolm Road. Currently, there's no defined ditch on either side of Malcolm Road, and there's no gas along the right side of the road, and there's no water and sewer on this portion of the road either. The developer would have to tie into the sewer and water provided by the city because the property is within 300 feet of the closest lines, and that's laid out in sections 1132 and 1153 of the city's codes of ordinances, which deals with our municipally owned systems. And I just wanted to point out, under the staff analysis, under compatibility, we did note that this proposal is compatible in terms of matching the character of the area as indicated on the future land use map. So it does match with the intention of the future land use map and our comprehensive plan. And just to kind of go over some of the maps included in your packet, this property is also within the historic district and in the watershed protection overlay. So any new building on that property will have to go before Historic Preservation Commission and meet the aesthetic standards for that Historic Preservation Commission. And staff recommends approval of the request to rezone from R25 to R15.
Thank you, Ashley. At this time, we'll open up the public hearing. The applicant's agent is Mark Patrick. Mr. Patrick, if you'd like to come up to the podium, please. Just before you begin, just for everyone here in attendance, our public hearing rules are that there's a total of 10 minutes. The applicant gets a total of 10 minutes and can reserve some time for rebuttal should he or she find necessary. Then upon the applicant's completion of his or her presentation, we'll open up the items to those who signed up to speak in favor for. Again, 10 minutes total, not 10 minutes each. Then we'll open up the item for anyone who's signed up to speak in opposition. Again, 10 minutes total, not each. We'll close the public hearing. The Planning Commission staff may go into deliberation, may ask the applicant some additional information, and then upon close of deliberation, the Planning Commission will render a recommendation. We do not make decisions. Our recommendation is then forwarded with the city's recommendation to City Council. City Council will hold a similar public hearing, and they will render a decision on the item. With that said, Mr. Patrick, please.
Yes, sir. I'm Mark Patrick, engineer surveyor from Covington, Georgia. Thank you for hearing us tonight. Trent is the owner. He's also here. Real briefly, Ashley explained it pretty well. It's just it's an effort to divide the lot. Presently, under the R25, we cannot divide the lot. The rear of the lot's pretty much non-usable until I can get the zoning. If indeed we get the zoning, then yes, we have some work to do on sewer and water, which we intend to do. And as far as HPC, the historic, I think we want to build something nice, something of good character. Trent has a drawing that he can share with you that I like, but it may not meet HPC things. We can adhere to any stormwater management issues as well that might be of concern. The property kind of lays and drains towards Cherokee, and there's may not be much of a ditch line on Malcolm Road, but we can take the water towards Malcolm Road and shed it away from any neighbors. But it sits kind of high relative to Cherokee, so we can drain back towards the Cherokee system. Trent, you want to say anything?
Yeah. Good afternoon. I'm Trent Steinhauer. Live in Social Circle, but property owner over here. Here's a sketch 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath house that we'd be interested in building something similar to this. Of course, you know, presenting to the Historic Commission. Over 1,670 square feet approximately on this house plan. But we'd like the opportunity to put a single family house and, you know, have a good product for the community.
Thank you. Reserve time.
Okay. There's 8 minutes and 5 seconds remaining. We have one member signed up to speak in favor. Trent, I think that was you. Would you like to say anything else? No. Okay. And we do not have any members signed up to speak in opposition.
I didn't know I had to do that.
Okay. Well, at this time, ma'am, if you'll stand up and provide your name and address for the record, we will add you to the list, and you may begin.
My name is Margaret Lindsay. I live at 1172 North Cherokee Road, which is right next door to 1166. I moved here in Social Circle in 2000, so I've been here almost 25 years. I moved from Gwinnett County because I was tired of the rat race, the noise, and the non-privacy. So now I'm enjoying where I live, but now I have rental property on both sides of me, and there's nothing to say that the person on the other side is not going to want to rezone their property as well. And I don't agree with it. I think it should not be rezoned.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. At this time, there are no other people that signed up or here that didn't know they needed to sign up to speak in opposition. Mr. Patrick, you have 8 minutes and 5 seconds. Should you choose to use that for a rebuttal?
Just a minor comment. If you didn't have Malcolm Road, it wouldn't make sense to rezone it. But because you have Malcolm Road, there's some opportunity to develop that end piece. That would be the differentiation from the other tracks. So just for a note. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right. At this time, we'll close the public hearing. Ashley, I think you had something you wanted to read, looks like.
That is correct. I just want to, someone reached out via email and via phone. They wanted to make sure that this got read into record in regards to this rezone. And this is from Dave Bishop. And he says, Ms. Davis, I am writing in regard to the City of Social Circle Planning and Corridor Commission public hearing scheduled for September 24th, 2024. This in regard to a rezone request by Mark Patrick. The tax parcel is SC120011 and the address is 1166 North Cherokee Road. The plat associated with the property is incorrect in that it shows the Greater Walton Railroad right-of-way as 40 feet. This is incorrect as the railroad has a 100-foot right-of-way. That equates to 50 feet from the center of the track on each side instead of 20 feet as shown on the plat. I have attached a copy of the valuation map for the railroad dated June 30th, 1916, which established the right-of-way pursuant to the Valuation Act of 1913. I also included a blow-up of the number 8 portion in question. Parcel number 8 reflects 100 foot. The right-of-way for this segment was further established by court decree as shown on the schedule of property on the valuation map. I request that you enter this information into the public hearing. Dave Bishop, executor of the Benny Ray Anderson Senior Estate. So I just wanted you guys to have that information as well. The subject tract in question, which is that tract 2 shown on the plat, comes out to be about a little under 19,000 square feet. So even with the 100-foot right-of-way on the railroad, it would still meet the dimensional requirements of 15,000 square feet, if my math is right on that, which I believe it is. We have a leeway of about 3,000 square feet, which I think that right-of-way would not eat into that all the way.
Ashley, thank you for that explanation. I'm looking at this item attached to the email. And for clarification, instead of the 40 foot shown, and it's hard to tell, from dated October 22nd, 1997, the survey, it's an additional 10 feet for a 50-foot right-of-way.
It would be an additional, it would be an additional 30 feet.
Well,
Yeah.
if it's a 100-foot right-of-way over the line is right down the middle. You have 50 feet to one side and 50 feet to the other.
But this 40
This
foot
is showing, okay.
20
this
and
showing,
20,
okay,
yeah.
so that's great. Thank you. Okay. So it's an additional.
So
80
we're looking
foot.
at like an additional, I think it's like 30 by 60 feet. So you're looking at an additional 1,800 square feet. That's ate up by the railroad right of way. So it doesn't affect the merits of the application. The plat is just wrong.
So for this purpose, we're here looking at the rezoning. If the zoning is changed by the mayor and council, the applicant has to prove dimensional standards in order to get the plat recorded and reviewed through staff and recorded. Ashley, I noticed a few things just briefly looking at this, and I was hoping maybe you can shed some light into it. It does look like it would be spot zoning by introducing the R25 or R15 into an area that's predominantly R25. But in addition to that, it is within the watershed protection and the watershed overlay district regulated by section 5.3. In that, subsection A says minimum lot area in the watershed protection district is 1 acre. And in quote, no subdivision plat shall be authorized for recording, which creates new lots of less than 1 acre in size. Now this 0.87 acres is currently non-conforming to the WP district standards. I've always gone by the belief that you cannot create another non-conforming situation out of one. How do you look at this in terms of you've got a lot that's non-conforming currently, and you want to make it even more so non-conforming by allowing a rezoning and then potentially a subdivision to make 2 non-conforming situations? How do you see that, and how does the ordinances see that for the city? Just, I don't want to create a snowball effect of nonconformity.
Correct. I get what you're saying, and typically the philosophy is to not increase non-conforming situations any more than they're already there. However, with the watershed protection overlay going across about a quarter of the city, a lot of those lots are already even less than the 18,000 square feet we're talking here. So some of them are even substandard as far as R15 goes, for like towards West Hightower and stuff like that. So I felt like it in keeping with the intent of our comprehensive plan and in keeping with the intent of the area to have the single family residential here. The use of the property and the size of the property is pretty standard, even as you come further south on North Cherokee, even inside the watershed protection.
I appreciate that. Are there any other questions or comments by the planning commission on this request?
The house that's on the lot now is a rental property, right? Or do you as the owner live in that property?
No, ma'am, it is a rental property.
Is the potential new home also gonna be rented out?
That is not our intention, is to sell it, unless the market were to do something crazy where we could not sell it. But the intent is to do, new construction similar to what we did over on Chestnut, right down the road. So to have it sold, marketed for a home to buy.
Okay. Thank you.
Curtis, Travis, any discussion, any comments, questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Do we have, in the watershed? I'm sorry. In the watershed protection area, you said a lot of the lots are non-conforming. Was the watershed protection put in after those lots and that provision added into the city code saying that they needed to be an acre? Or did we just make all those non-conforming lots?
So the watershed protection is actually set by the state, that district. It's not something that the city sets. So off the top of my head, I don't know when. I believe it's set by DNR, but I'm not sure how far back that overlay goes. But the UDC is. The watershed protection section of the UDC was adopted with the UDC, so that was back in June of last year, or July of last year, and so all of the non-conforming lots that are in place now are just illegal non-conforming lots. So typically, when you have illegal non-conforming lots like that, you don't increase the non-conformity, but because these lots are deeper and they could be rendered usable by something like this, I thought it would be something that would be okay.
This is funny. We're pushing buttons. So Valerie, when a jurisdiction has a water withdrawal permit for the state in order to sell water, you've got a basin that your stormwater, your surface water drains through, that fills your aquifers, that goes to rivers and lakes and streams where you have your water withdrawal system out of and your water treatment before distribution. As part of your water treatment permit from the state and water sewer treatment from the state to discharge back into the watershed. As part of that, one of the requirements is they want the cities or counties to adopt a model ordinance that says very basic language like what we have with our watershed protection. It was not a district that was identified within the code prior to the UDC, and with the UDC, it was brought in as part of one of the overlay districts. The underlying zoning district still regulates the uses and the dimensional standards, but that overlay is an additional requirement. This is not something that we went and changed the lot size as the city. This additional requirement that was really required of us to adopt for our water and wastewater treatment for our permit with the state made these lots non-conforming. And that's what I'm trying to, get a better grasp of. How are we going to maneuver this? Are we going to just have the watershed protection district just to say we've adopted it to satisfy state requirements and shelve it and not pay attention to it? And a lot of places do that. Or are we going to follow it to protect? And the whole idea is to protect your watershed so you don't have too much impervious area, where it means stormwater can't penetrate through, like concrete, asphalt, rooftops, and then reduce the potential for pollutants coming from oils, things like that. That's one of the reasons why gas stations are limited, because of gas runoff. And you remember we had that discussion on the north side of town about the gas station, and right across the street was literally the watershed basin. So there's I guess it needs to kind of come
A
into
philosophical question,
Yeah, I
for
mean, it
lack
needs
of
to
a
have-
better
it needs to
better
have
term.
a better understanding of how we're going to look at these moving forward, and in some direction, I guess. If that's coming from staff, is we recognize the watershed overlay, but it's not as important as the base, and we're going to move forward like we are. I hope that answered your question. With no other discussion, ladies, if y'all don't, gentlemen, if y'all don't, yes, ma'am.
So this one particular house is right beside Malcolm Road, and the other homes up there, if someone else decide, maybe 2 or 3 houses down, to, do the same thing, how would they get up in there?
Just like Mr. Patrick pointed out, this property has double road frontage, Malcolm and Cherokee, and you have to have a specific amount of road frontage to have a new lot. So the lots, 2 or 3 lots up north of it, they couldn't subdivide. They could ask for a rezoning to R15, but they wouldn't be allowed to subdivide their lots like this potential lot has the opportunity, because it has road frontage on 2 surfaces. The lot just south of it, across Malcolm, they could possibly do the same thing and subdivide and create another lot that would come out on Malcolm. So if you draw a line here, you'd have lot 1, lot 2, and draw a line here, lot 1, lot 2. So those other lots wouldn't be allowed to do so. I hope I answered that for you correctly.
That is correct. There, you have a minimum lot frontage, road frontage. There's a lot of different ways it's written throughout codes, but you have to meet those in order to be able to subdivide. So you do have to have a certain amount of road frontage.
If rezoned.
It would just be for that one lot.
And all additional setbacks and standards will be met, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's all determined through the building permit process. And I will say, Mr. Steinhauer has been before HPC twice now, 3 times. Yeah, so he's familiar with all of the processes that if this rezone were to get approved, that he would have to go through. And I think he has built a new home in accordance with the design standards that were adopted in the UDC as well, over in the Mill Village, I believe. I think that one.
We haven't built on.
Okay, that's right.
Ones they have that adopted from.
Yes.
Any other questions or discussion? Not, Chair entertain a motion.
I don't know if everybody jumped at one time.
Well, the Chair will make a motion that we recommend denial of the rezoning request at 1166 North Cherokee from R25 to R15. Okay. So we have a motion to deny and a second. All in favor of that motion, signify by raising your hand. Okay, that was unanimous. Okay. Thank you so much. And Ashley, no other new business to consider?
I just want to confirm with everyone that there's no need to meet in October. So we can cancel that October meeting if you guys are all good with that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, and just so you guys are aware, we do have 2 part-time positions available for code enforcement. So if you guys know anyone that's looking for some part-time work that would love to help the city out, please, please, please have them submit their resumes and an application to City Hall.
I know some people.
All right, with no other items, we'll let this meeting stand adjourned at 6:25.